Alexis, it's good to see you again.
You too, Victor. Very good to see you again.
Yeah. How are you? Tell us a little bit of who you are, maybe for those who don't know you, and about what you're doing, what's your passion, in a couple of words.
Well, I'm a husband, and that takes up a lot of my time.
Okay.
That's hard work.
I don't know how it is yet, so.
I'm a father. But my kids are growing up, so they're adults. 3 of them are married. I'm a grandfather.
Wow.
And that kind of occupies my head a lot, more than I thought.
Okay.
Besides that, I work in a Norwegian media organization, faith-based. So I work a lot with young people. I work a lot with leaders in leadership. I make resources. And I talk about topics and issues that the church kind of avoided a lot. We started out talking on pornography. We kind of found a language that was both safe and I felt comfortable talking on that topic. And that's like 10 years ago. Wow. And it opened up an opportunity to talk deeper on sexuality. What's our longings? What are we? Why are we male and female? What makes me a man?
Wow. That's a good question for today.
That's a great question. You know, I love that question when I ask 14-year-old boys, all right, boys, what's going to make you to men?
Oh. Okay.
And they look at me with big questions marks in their face, and we kind of start hammering on it. What is it? It's more than our biology. It's a good place to start. We need to start there. Yeah. Is it Andrew Tate? Maybe. Some boys think that. That's manhood.
Okay.
That's a disaster. So I try to kind of be relevant in this world. I'm 51 years old, so that means that I'm starting to get some experience in my life. And that's strange to be in that position, because I have young people coming up to me and asking for advice. And I'm like, wow, I'm there in life. Sometimes I give advice, and sometimes we just have a talk or conversation. I try to listen. Sometimes that's hard. But I strongly believe that if I listen long enough, maybe I'll hear some longings. And when I hear longings, we kind of plow into what we are, made in the image of God. So then we can start talking about how do we reflect our God.
Wow.
That's an exciting conversation. How can I, as a man, reflect my Creator?
Wow, that's a good place to start, I guess.
Well, it means that I have to give, not take. Something I'm not given. In our culture, young people, both men and women, you know, we're different, but I know a lot about men. I'm learning about women. I've lived with a woman for 32 years. I'm married to her, committed my life to her. I would give my life to her because I'm her man. It's deep rooted in what I am. So when my daughter got married this summer, I held a speech in the wedding, and I said, and you know, she had all her friends there, they had all their friends there, and they're like in their mid-20s, some of them in early 30s. What happened today was not a giving of power, but a giving of responsibility. So I expect that you're prepared to give your life for my daughter.
Wow.
It was quiet in the room.
Wow.
It was quiet. And you know, afterwards there was some laughter about it and some joking about it, but everybody in that room knew I was dead serious. And he knew it. Because I've already had that talk with him. Because I'm stepping down. He's the man.
Wow, wow, that's
Boom! It's quite an opening.
It is there, it's deep. Okay, wow. I love what you said about giving.
Yeah.
We're so much taught today that about what we can get.
Yeah.
How do you get it? About yourself, about gratifying yourself, about having it here and now. All of these things. How do teenagers react when you introduce them to this complete opposite way of seeing sexuality and relationships?
That's a great question. They get curious. They get surprised because they expect me to talk about right and wrong, because that's pretty much what their thoughts on Christianity is, and maybe that's what they've been taught in church and home. But if I talk about what we are, our actions come after we know how we can handle who we are and what we are. Right and wrong is easy. So young people get curious, and I'm fascinated about that. And I'm honest. I try to be really honest when I talk to young people, because they see right through you. I'm too old to know what I know about young people and internet, because I work with this. I worked with media awareness, and I'm too old. But I know a lot of things, how the media works, how the dopamine works, how the rejection, all the wounds social media creates. So I kind of dig into it right away. So I kind of get their attention.
Oh, wow.
I'll get the girls' attention before I get the boys. Because I sense in girls they have such a longing, because they're girls, to be treated with respect, with dignity. Basically to be loved.
Yeah.
Because it's rooted so deep in what they are. So
I heard this from John Eldridge. I don't know if you know about him.
I know him. I've read him.
The question of women and the question of men, like the general question of life.
Yeah.
As a woman, do you see me?
Yeah.
And as a man, do I have what it takes to be a man?
And it's, when you bring up John Eldridge, it's been a while since I read his book, Wild at Heart.
Yes.
and he talks about the wound, the scar that we have, the big question, do I have what it takes? So when I talk to people, when I get into a relationship where I can have a longer talk, not just a 20 minute like short thing where you have to be explosive, I can be pretty honest about things I talk about has been painful in my life. It's born out of pain and suffering. And that brings substance in your voice, in what you say. So take pornography. That was kind of like the door opener into this. Yeah. I know what that is. I know what addiction is. I know what it did to me as a young man. I know what it did to me as a young married man. I saw what it did to my wife as a young woman who felt betrayed, who was betrayed. So I know about these issues. And when you bring pain, which mostly is, it shapes us. Everything we read in the Bible, mostly everything we read in the Bible, which is glorious and powerful and amazing, and they're heroes, is born in suffering. Wow. We don't like it. We try to avoid it. But if we start facing it and kind of let it shape us into something we are, created in the image of God, like shape us, it does something to the depth that we can go into and talk into. And young people see that. They sense it.
How is it for you to continue to do this when you see the way or the speed that social media evolves with? and the way teenagers today and even children today become more and more addicted to social media, and they just get completely immersed in TikTok and stuff like that. Has it been for you a struggle, for example, to maybe adjust your message or the way you present your message? Did you have to take on new alternative ways, or?
I have to dig deeper.
Okay.
Because the world is so shallow. TikTok is so shallow.
Yeah.
And to get young people's attention for like more than 5 to 6 or 7 seconds, you have to grab a hold of something deep within them. So yes, it has changed. But I find it kind of more, I like when it's difficult. I like difficult situations. I like a good challenge. And this is a great challenge to us. But if I approach it with a mindset that TikTok is shallow, pornography is fast food, we're created for something more, and I kind of expose it, just what it is, and let just put it on the table.
Okay.
And then dig into something deeper. What are you longing for? You want to be seen. You want to be touched. You want to experience mercy in your life. Social media can't offer you that. So I think that the Christian message is, and the story we have to tell, we may have to tell the same story in different ways, different approaches, but it's the same story about God's love, His longing. Yeah.
What would be an advice, or what would you say to parents who are raising their children and they're afraid that their children will fall into pornography or will be exposed to pornography in other environments, because maybe at home they're safe, but they're thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen at school, what's going to happen at the kindergarten, what's going to happen outside of the home shelter.
Yeah.
What would you say to parents?
Well, they should be afraid, because the world is just totally crazy. So I talk to a lot of parents about these issues, and one thing they ask me is, how early should we start talking about difficult topics?
Okay.
And I say, well, you need to start early, long before you give them access to internet. You need to start modeling into their life what love is. Put that into words and action. Why does mom and dad love each other? What does that mean? What happens when mom and dad get naked together? What does that mean? Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Anxious.
My daughter, I have 2 daughters, and my one daughter, she's 25 years old now, and she works in health. She knows a lot about the human body, but she was a curious little girl.
Okay.
A very curious little girl. So she asked us, my wife and I, how did I become? What happened?
Okay.
And my wife and I, we looked at each other and was like, all right, this is it. What are we going to do? She's a little girl. I don't remember her age. She was like maybe 6 or 5, or I don't know. So we told her in a childly way how it happened. She looked at us with despair and, I don't know, disgust in her eyes for days.
Oh, wow.
And me and Elizabeth, we looked at each other. Have we done something wrong? Have we failed as parents? But we owned that story. It was ours. It was safe. It was filled with love. It was filled with truth. And you know what? It was filled of how we reflect our Creator and what He gave us to bring forth new life. So when she got older, when she got a teenager, we kind of talked about it. And I asked her for a while ago, 3 years ago, do you remember that? And she was like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was important.
Wow.
That was important. So the family, the safetiness of the family, and if we kind of broaden that and bring it into the church, which for some people is their family, their closest family. We need to support each other. We need to talk boldly about how we come to life. What is God's meaning for us? What is love? What is sexuality? What is bonding? Why do our brain respond with crazy hormones that makes us love and connect? What's the purpose for that? So early. On the other hand, we need to equip our children to relate to this world we live in. Relate to people who believe and think and live different. So this is difficult. We need to have some clear thoughts.
What about those who would say, oh, I missed the moment, or my relationship with my children is messed up, or I realized too late that I didn't have that conversation at the right time, or I don't have a husband, how am I doing that by myself, or scenarios like this?
Oh, these scenarios is life. This is our life as humans, as parents. And I would so strongly say, just take it back. Say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, son.
Wow.
I should have talked to you about this. I'm sorry, daughter. Just bleed out.
Wow.
Be open. Be vulnerable. Don't miss the moment again. So some parents say, oh, I can't have that talk. Or it's too late. He won't listen to me. Well, take it back.
Wow.
Take it back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with teenagers who are struggling with their gender or same-sex attraction? And did you find that there's a different pattern that you're following in your conversations in those situations? Or is it different for you?
Oh, yeah. You know, I go on my toes when I go into that. I'm like very careful because it's so sensitive because of our culture. Recognize the pain. Recognize the pain. Be compassionate. Where is this teenager at? Where are you at? What do you mean by you're born in the wrong body? What does that mean? Explain me. Help me to understand your question. This young girl who wants to be a boy, sit down with her and just ask her, what's a boy?
Wow.
What do you want to be? What do you want to be? Explain that to me.
Wow.
So kind of turn the conversation upside down. I'm not going to tell you what a boy is. A while ago, I had this conversation and I told this girl, if you ever wonder, and she has this issue in her body, and I told her, if you ever wonder what it is to be a boy, ask me. I'm one. I'll answer you straight out.
Okay.
I'll be honest, because I know. She didn't take me up on it, but maybe she will. She knows. She has a standing offer. She has the foggiest idea of what it is to be a boy. She has some fantasies and some illusions. I don't even know if she wants to be a boy. She just doesn't want to be a girl.
Wow, that's a good one.
So kind of flip it around. But be careful. Be careful.
Why did you choose to do this? Out of all the other things you could have done, and even out of all the other things you could have been speaking about, why this area?
I felt led. Doors opened up. And I still ask myself that question. was like, why am I here? Why am I speaking here tomorrow? And I still ask myself that question. In the same time, I feel privileged. It's an honor. I bring it in with me. So many stories and so many meetings and so much pain I've been listening to with young people. I used to work in child protective services before I went into working with this. I worked 10 years in an institution with kids just so messed up, teenagers. So if the volume of my voice can reflect some of the pain I've been listening to, I'm going to speak out loud.
Wow.
I'm going to speak out loud. I'll be bold. Because I know there's a better story. There's a better story.
What advice or comment do you have for those who enroll on the IFGC learning courses, including your presentation that will be on the website? Young counselors, young therapists, just people who care.
You know, I'm amazed. I've been to some of the pathways here, and I'm listening to the amazing speakers, and they're professionals. They're the people I kind of lead to. I lean to them. I have people who come to me, and with their life, we have some conversations, and I kind of point them in some direction to a professional counselor or a licensed counselor. I'm very honest of what I am. I'm a pretty normal guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I would advise them to listen into the depth of what is being said. Take in all the knowledge, all the research, all the experience, but try to listen into the depth of what is being said. Because you can dig a long time in these resources, in these speeches, and the talks. Yeah.
We could sit here until tomorrow.
I hear you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alexis, and I'm looking forward to hear you tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to presenting. Yeah.